Good morning, everyone. Can everybody see my screen that says practice sets on it? I'm going to check it to make sure I shared it the right way before I said I didn't. So really good that my brain thought to do that quickly. It'll work now. Sorry. That link will work now. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bond, Virginia Bond. Bond like James, Virginia like the state. I work for NARIC as an ISS Integration of Technology Training Specialist too. I'm actually based out of Malone, which is why Tracy and I were talking because Tracy and I are both from Malone, but happen to be in the Albany office today. And if you don't know where Malone is, it's an hour north of Lake Placid. So it's way up there on the Canadian border, about as close as you can get. Today, you are here for Google Classroom 4. This is last in my series for Google Classroom, and it's on practice sets. So, has anybody used practice sets before? Know what they are? Have a clue where? Oh, awesome. So, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I'll say it the right way. Um, it will do a lot, and it's really still kind of in beta. It's not in beta, it's come out of beta, but it's one of those things that Google's working on and they're making changes and they're happening pretty quickly. So let's just talk a little bit about what it is, where it sits, and how it started. So, what are they is what we're going to talk about. How to create them, how to edit them, how to delete them, how to share them, and how to do assignments in them. It's all a lot easier than it seems. So, the basics of it, here's what they are. They're like an ability for a teacher to put in some content so that students can practice information. Right now, they will give you some sessions. When you put in a skill, it will use AI goes out and checks and pulls in a video or a little practice session to help. Now, it doesn't make much sense when I say it like that, but it will in a few minutes. So let me walk you through where you find them. So where can I find them? I'm actually going to go out to Google Classroom. And when I am in there, I have to use a couple different classes. So when I go into Google Classroom, you will notice right across the top, you have a thing called practice set. Now, if you've never used them before, you can totally go through this, like learn more to get started. This get started will be a walkthrough of what they do. So I'm just going to click it and kind of show you, and then I'll go back to where I was. So you can build these like sets and literally can practice, and you can build in kind of like having the Kahoot decks where you could build them and students, you could release them to students so they could practice on them. Same idea, except you're able to push them in through Google Classroom and you will get analytics on them, which is in itself very helpful. So they're found within your Google Classroom. That's easy to find. Let's see what else. And then you have a couple ways that you can build them. You can write questions from scratch, yada, 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 yada. Or you can upload a PDF to create a practice set. And one of the really cool things that we just found out is right now, I'm going to take these, sorry, I'm going to pop these off. So I get my badge off because it's choking me. Oh, sorry. Should have done that beforehand, but my brain didn't think of it. We just found out one of the newest options is going to be the ability to go through and you're going to be able to add your own practice components to it. You're like, what are you talking about? So I'll show you what I mean. Let's do this one. I'm going to just open this one up so you can see what the practice set looks like. This is the one I built, okay? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to try it as a student. When I come in and I try it as a student, it's going to load the set. It's a great way to kind of work to try them and practice them. I'm just going to type 15. Pretty sure I can do 10 plus 5. I can check that and it's going to say, yep, it's going to turn green. It should turn green. There you go. I got it right. Yay me. I'm going to solve 100 plus 250 And maybe I didn't really pay attention and I'm just going to put 300 and it's going to be like, yep, nope. And you'll notice this little orange light bulby thing over here is going to show me a hint, and it's like a little mini video, although this is not perfect because it's adding whole number to a fraction, but it'll walk you through a video, which I don't need to do right now. I think I grabbed anything that was in there. So they're going to pop up some little videos. So basic what Google does is it says, oh, you're working on this skill. The AI reads what you write out and it says, here's a couple ideas of what we can do to give your students some hints to practice. So here's another one, and I'm gonna try to do this one correctly. So let's just say it's 621. I'm off. I'm pretty sure it's 631. I'm gonna check it. And it's like, no, try again. So again, I can use my little hint right here, and it's going to give, I don't know why it gave me that one. So I'd have to go through, do it. I also can come into this and I can select a pencil and I can show my work. So if you're a teacher that's doing anything with, if you're a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teacher who's doing computer-based testing, which a lot of us are getting there and we're starting to do that, this is a struggle to get students to show their work. So we can have them type in here and they can type 389 or they can write 389. I typed it, you can't type in there, 389 and then 242. And then I can do this 1 and 1 up there, going to be 3, not very good writing, and 1 is 6. And I know that this is now, I can make that go away. I have it, I did it the wrong way. So all I want to do is I want to reset my amount and I can do that. So you can see it's got some nice pieces in here. So in here, it's 6, woo, 31. Check. And now it's going to be correct and I can move on. I can always move on as I want. And as you work your way through, it's also telling me this is number 1, number 2, number 3. I can go through and I can pull these things. Now, I did not write these questions. Or maybe I wrote some of them. I think I went on the internet and pulled some questions and just copied and pasted them in. But I like the math part because it was an easy way for me to kind of start with the process. So you can also use a PDF. I'm going to show you how to do that in a few minutes. You can take a PDF that you already have and you can add it in. And then you have 4 types of questions that you can have in there. You can have a short answer. You can have a paragraph. You can have a single select, so basically multiple choice with 1 correct answer, or you can have a multiple choice with multiple select answers. So this is pretty helpful, and you'll notice you have auto, auto, auto. The short answer, the single select, and the multi-select will all self-correct. So they'll auto-correct for you. The paragraph won't, just like a Google form. And really the difference between this and a Google form is the fact that your students can do these questions more than once to kind of practice through that. If you were using Google Forms with data validation and adding in videos for kids to practice, this is the same idea. All right, we're going to keep going. So you can add in those learning skills to each question. So as we're going to go in and do a couple, not every question that I wrote had a learning skill, probably because maybe I'm not writing the right way, probably possible. But when you type in the skill, Practice Set uses AI to go find hints and resources for students. So here we're seeing AI at its best. It's going out, finding some ways to give some support to your students. And here's the thing I was just talking about. Coming soon, and they say before the start of school, like they said early fall. So typically that is like September, October for Google. If you're early, if you start in August, this would not work. Coming soon, educators will have the ability to add their own help resources. So you're going to be able to give them their own text hints or your own videos that you've created, like little mini videos on how to do things. And you can manage some of the resources that come in. So if you're a math teacher and there's a certain way, I like to think of long division. That is the big bad bummer for every kid that has to do anything. And you have a way that you teach your kids to do it, you could record your own little videos and put them in, or give them some certain steps that you teach them how to do things. So this is a great fit for math, a great fit for science. Um, I would use this. I was a music teacher. I would have used this as a music teacher so my kids could practice some things like note reading because they could practice it over and over and over again without worrying if they got it wrong, right? It's okay to do it that way. So when you're all done, you go through the creation and you have these options. So let's go build one from scratch, okay? So I'm gonna come back out of here and I'm gonna click the create button. And it says, okay, we're gonna make a new practice set. So we're just gonna call it gobbledygook because I really don't have a name for it. And then I'm gonna click here and it will add the name in. So that's a very Google form, right? We're gonna put a couple different things in here. So short answer, who was the first president of the United States? And please don't judge me by my typing skills. I have none. I am honestly the first, really, it's a good thing I know how to go back and read things, okay? Who was the first president of the United States? So as soon as I got done typing it, you see I got a C suggested. So when I click this, it's going to give me some of these. None of these work, right? How science knowledge changes over that's not it. How the motion, no, none of these are going to work for my skills, right? So we're just not going to use any of those today. We're going, I don't know if they change, they do not. I'm going to put a couple answers. I'm going to put the right answer, George Washington. I'm going to add another answer because maybe my kids are not good about, this is so much like a Google form, right? You have to give them, if you want it to autocorrect, you have to give them all the possibilities that your kids would put in, right? Maybe they would do this, George Washington. And so those will be my answers for that. Short answer. So we're going to do another question. So all I need to do is a new question. So they don't have the plus sign. You just come down here and click plus. So this is just like before, you can insert text. So new question. Let's do a different type. Let's do a paragraph. Please rate what you know about George Washington. This is the total Washington. My brain got ahead of my fingers twice. Right there. So nothing like giving them the answer down below for the answer above, right? I don't really need any skills for this. A couple things, right? I don't, honestly, if you were going to do writing with students, I'm not sure that a practice set is the best way to get back text because there's other pieces for practicing. Although they could practice essay writing in here and then be able to rewrite it if they wanted to. Let's do another one. So short answer, let's do a single select. Let's do something in math just to be fun. What is 10 plus 39? So we'll put the right answer in here, 49. We'll put a wrong answer in here, 39, 41, 29. And you'll see suggested. So we'll get suggested. Solve for an unknown whole number. Okay, so we're going to add that one in. Really, that's probably simple. What I did find in here, I wrote a question before that was what I used to call carrying. I know there's a new name for that. So when you add two numbers together and they have to carry it over. That was a good one in there because there was a whole video popped up for them. And I did some on place value. So any third grade teacher, whoever teaches any kids, place value is really the skill that drives a lot of our. And if we don't have students that understand place value, we have a lot of problems later on. Long division gets affected by that. Multiplication gets affected by that. So it's good to have those abilities to pull those pieces in. So this is a short answer. Excuse me, that's a single select. Let's do a new question and we'll do a multi-select. Oh, these are hard for me. What's the best way to, I don't know. Let's say, what are 2 ways? What are 2 ways to eat ice cream? That's not a real skill, guys. Sorry. I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head. It's okay. This will work, right? There's going to be 2 options. On a cone, off the floor, depends if you're the dog, in a dish. Let's keep it simple. It should be simple. So you can see I've done my 2. I don't know what they would possibly, these are not anything that would, because it really wants a real math skill. Sorry, I'm not real great at real math skills. So I have these 4 simple questions. I've basically built a little mini information. Students, you as a teacher can come in and try it as a student, which I highly recommend doing because that allows you to kind of practice. I always practice my forms because I'm always like, yeah, I can't really spell very correctly when I'm typing. So here's an option. So we're going to write George Washington. Check. What I like about this is in here for the second one, if they write, it says needs teacher to check. So the students know that the teacher will need to check this one. Okay, so we have first president involved in Continental Congress. I want everybody to know I'm really don't know very much about social studies, but I know a little bit about George Washington. Come to the next one. What is 10 plus 39? I'm going to say 39 because I didn't read very well. It's going to be like, oh, nope. Let's try again. I can watch my hint. I'm not really going to watch this just so we know, but you can see where the content is coming from. And the goal with practice sets is for them to practice and then have something on over in here. So you can see we're like in higher level math to give them a couple quick questions and then have these pieces, or you as a teacher can add in your content. I think that adding in content is going to be a huge piece. And Tracy, I was kind of excited to see you here because like if you're signing, like if you want to show a sign, this is not going to work always because you can't put a video in it yet. But I think it's coming. That's going to be one of the things that's coming in the product.
And I think I could use this for grammar, which will be, you know, I'm that's what I, you know, because when I do assessments and such, I don't do a lot with grammar. So this could be a great way to practice.
Yes.
You know,
Right.
using questions like, you know, what's the word order for X, Y, and Z? But I'm glad to hear it's coming because that will be super helpful. Yes.
Yeah. So having those pieces in there, like who knows how long it's on the roadmap. That's all I can say, right? So when you see that, and then I also think that ability for teachers to come in and to add this in. Honestly, this has been in beta for under a year, and they did a really quick push to get it out to classrooms because there's been a lot of request for it. So let's do the last one. 2 ways to eat ice cream. I'm going to do it on cone and a dish because I actually do know that one because I'm not a moron. I could eat off the floor, but hey, whatever. So it's showing me that I have that. And what I do like here is that after kids get a couple in a row right, it shows them how they did. So they're all done. I took it as a student so I can see that format that they're getting. You'll notice what happens. They'll get like this little extra help tab up here. It's like a little flag, and they could come in here and it shows you some of the extra help that might be available for a question they got wrong. So it's not just the one they put up, it could be the next one. So you'll see, like in here, they have, math unknown whole numbers, I can't even read, topic overview part 1 of 2. So there's a lot on fractions, which is a struggle amount. There's money. So anything you can put in, it's pulling from Education Galaxy. This one's pulling from a personal teacher's account. This one's pulling from Khan Academy. So you don't have to have Khan Academy for you to be able to get some of these things in here, which is really great for math. All right, so we're gonna go close that and we're gonna go back out. So we're gonna take the back road here and we'll go all the way. I'm gonna move my way backwards. Maybe I'm not. I'm gonna go this way. So we tried it as a student. You can also share. So what does that mean? You can actually share a practice set. So if you have a colleague who teaches the same grade and one of you wants to do ELA and one of you wants to do math and you want to share them, you can do that. So you have to turn link sharing on, just like that, a quick little toggle, and then copy the list. Okay, so look what it says. Sharing this link lets verified teachers in your Google Workspace preview and make a copy of the set. So if Sandra and I both worked at Ravina and I built something and I said, Sandra, I'm going to turn it on so you can find it, she'd be able to go and find it and then she'd make a copy of it for herself to use and she could make any edits she wanted on there. So basically, it's a lot like Newsela if you have ever used that, where you can see other people's stuff within your own domain. So that in itself is very beneficial, right? Then you have the ability to push it through. You can also then copy the link and you'd be able to share that with your peer. And you could say, here's what I'm talking about, here's how you could use it. So if you're in a district with multiple buildings, and you're an elementary teacher especially, it's a great use. It's great in a middle school setting. It's even great in a high school. Somebody's saying, oh, like my kids cannot do order of events, or they can't, like we're working on a story, they can't do this. It's something I need them to be able to do. You could share one of these links that you've made. They'd be able to make their own copy and then they could add it to their Google Classroom. All right. So
And you can turn that off and on as you please. It's
You
not
can turn it on and off as you please.
okay.
That's a great question, Cami, right? It doesn't have to be on all the time because you can be like, well, this one's really good for me to share, but I don't want to share this other one.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering between like the Mohawk teachers, if say Kathleen wanted a copy, I could just turn it on for her or whatever.
And yeah, and just share it to her.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's go back to my deck here. I gotta see where I am. So kind of working my way through as we work our way through. We talked about this. Oh, sorry. The two sharing. So sharing off and sharing on, right? So you could literally share it with somebody, and as soon as they have their own copy, especially if you're sitting with each other, you turn it back off so that it's not open anymore. Depends on how free. I like the fact that they're not really a collaborator in your set. They are making their own copy. So it's not like they can't muck up the work that you've already done. And I know we're teachers. We all have trust issues with other people in our stuff. It's good, right? Because we've all been burnt more than once. It's okay. I get it, right? I'm kind of like, oh, whatever. I just roll stuff back now. There is no version history on a practice set. That's a really good point to rate. There just is not one in here. So it's one of those things to know once it's made, you can't kind of go backwards and be like, oh yeah, that'll work. It won't. There is no way to do that. Okay. Let's sorry, I kind of jumped around. Let's go in here real quick. So we talked about sharing. We talked about trying it as a student. Let's talk about editing. So say you build one and you check it. So here's one, just a little bit of, here's a tech question, right? Which there was no help for. Shocker, there was no help for that one. Here's an equation one. So if we try this one and we type in it, and it does make you do them, I want you to see this. Oh, sorry, to be try as a student. When I'm in it, you can jump around, I believe you can. See how your kids don't have to do all of them in order. If they decide to come down here, they can come down. And by the way, this is a long reading piece that I stuck in here. If you're an English teacher and you want to have a reading piece, it's great. The problem that I don't like about it is that it kind of, you have to go back in. This had spaces in it. It took them all, it stripped them all out, and there is scrolling involved. So it's a little harder to read than we would typically have in a reading piece. And then you come down, you have questions, right? And so there's some other things in there. Okay, I just kind of go back up. Kids can jump around. You could say, I made a practice set. I need you to practice like 2 and 3. I got it. Like, you could have 10 in the practice set. And you know the student's doing really well. And you're like, listen, in the practice set that I set up, I want you to practice 5 and 7. Those are ones I need you to work on. Maybe they don't need to do them all, but 5 and 7 will be ones that'll be good for them. So let's just look at a couple of these. Okay, so that was the kick it. We're not even going to check this. So in this one, 5 times 4 is 20. I'm going to check your work. There is a math equation writer within practice set. So that's why it actually looks like a real multiplication sign instead of just a regular X. Let's do this one. So this one, and it does say show your work. So the teacher would go in, the student would go in, and you want your student to come through and do the work. So they can do 5x equals 15. So in this one, I can type, right? So, and I might go x equals, I'm not great at doing this, divided by 5 because I'm going to do the same on each. So set x equals 3, right? So x equals 3, and I could just put that up there. So you could see that work. So they can expand it out, these dots. This is just, you have it, this is called a notepad. You can remove the notepad, you can expand the notepad, you can minimize it. This works when it comes through for the teachers is they can see it. So they can see if there's work done by the students. Anybody that teaches math, that's a huge problem with students not doing math before they solve problems. So they have that in there. So you see, I put in a little bit of a simple one, right? A little gum one. So let's do this one. Adrian has 10 pieces of gum. There wasn't enough gum for all her friends, so she went and got 70 more of strawberry and 10 more of bubble gum. How many does she have altogether? 10 plus 70 plus 10 is 90. But let's say I can't add very well and I miss a 10 and I check it. It's going to give me the hint. It's going to turn red because it's wrong. It's going to show me a hint. And this is solving addition and subtraction word problems. And you're going to notice that this one's 5 minutes. It's a little longer, but none of them are hugely long. None of them are like 20 minutes. You can come back in and the student could say, oh, no, it wasn't that. It's going to be 90 minutes. One of the things, so you can see it's keeping track of it's keeping track of the number I'm on. But when we can't look at these analytics directly, but I'm going to show you a screenshot of what it looks like. You're going to be able to see how many times the student attempted it. Okay, that's a really great feature, and that's going to show up in the teacher dashboard. So you can see some of the questions that I put in. They're simple. Some of them are always going to have, this is that longer reading passage. This is not really a show or work, but when we do this, I think this is one that I was like, oh, wow, this one's on inferencing. This was an inferencing question I found. And did I have a hint? It did not. So I'm going to dismiss that. Some of them will have hints, some of them will not. I personally, you probably won't, had a terrible time writing English ones, like English language ones. But you could do spelling, you could do grammar. There's a lot of other options that could go in that my brain wasn't wrapping around to make happen. Science, there's a lot of science ideas. You can do social studies. I would have done music because I feel like those would have been very easy. So we have it in, and you can see in here. So this one, when I did it the first time and I didn't answer it correctly, I got an article, a little video over here on linear equations. So I just took a screenshot as I worked my way through it. So those will come up as suggested skills. You can pick more than one suggested skill. If you feel like it has 2 steps, you can add 2 suggested skill. I think you can go up to 5. Okay. So you build your practice set, and then I highly recommend you try it as a student so you can see if it works right. It's like looking at your form to make sure it actually works the way you want to. And it's a great way also to show students how it works. You have that ability to try it as a student, so you can show them how it works. So those are the ones I built. So let's say I have these practice sets all set to go, only if I get to the right place. So here are my practice sets, and I'm like, yeah, these are really good, but I decide, like, what was I thinking? I don't really need gobbledygook, and I want to get rid of it. I have some options. So in here, I have a menu. So Cami, kind of to your point, there is a share link right in here, and it will ask you, is sharing on? So if I turn it off like this, I'm going to try it again, right? If I click share link, it's going to pop that right up for you and say, oh, you don't have link sharing on. So to be able to share it, I need to turn it on. You don't have to go into the set to get that. So I have it, then I can copy it, then I can share it with someone very easily. Let's say I don't want it anymore. I could delete it. We'll do that in a minute. Maybe I make a copy. Why would I ever make a copy? So I like to think about if you're going to do math facts, this is a great way to do some math facts with students. It's also a way to get into some of more of the algebraic things for students, like the 5x equals 15, solving for a variable. So you might have like the structure of this is one you like, and you literally make a copy. And then all you have to do is change some of the questions, right? All I have to do is change these questions and work my way through. We always want to work smarter, not harder. Okay, so these were ones, I did a lot of them. I also started to do some bigger things like rounding and place value. Place value is another perfect one to use because it will, it's a way I'll show you what that one looks like because that's a hard structure for kids to understand. So it makes it, and it just makes it called copy of MathFacts, just like our Google Drives do. And then when you come into them, you click on it. I lied to you. You click on it, you open it. It opens like this. You have to edit it in the top corner. Once you edit it, then you have the ability to change the name. You might want to call it Math Facts Practice 2, right? And then come up here, and as soon as you click whatever you change the name to here and click, it'll change the name automatically. So quick little cheat for that. Then you can go in and change anything you want in here. Let's do a little bit of an import. I'm in one. So I'm going to do an import. So I'm going to click this. So this is that using a PDF to add in. So it's going to say, oh, you want to use a PDF? Where do you want to get it from? So all of my teachers who have lots of things out there, let's use this one. So here's a PDF that I found off a web page because music teacher doesn't have any math stuff in her life. I just went and found some questions. So here is a place value. This is where it gets a little big. We found a couple things with this. You're actually going to build these as little images. So here's the first one. and you're going to draw a box around everything you want to take with you. So if you have things you already use, so let's say I want that, but then I'm like, no, 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 I don't want to take any of the numbers with me, right? So I take these off and I'm like, oh, I still want them. I just don't want the numbers because it won't matter where they go in the question. So I drew boxes around what I wanted to take. I tell it to import the questions. It will come and bring those in. So if you have PDFs, I wanted to see how far I could push this. It will not import from a document. So if you have a Google Doc, and let me go into my drive and find one. So, trying to save something. Oh, this is fine. If you have a Google document like this, which is basically a Word document, does everybody know how to turn it into a PDF? Okay, Tracy, I love your, she's like, nope, not a clue. Okay, that's why I'm here. You're gonna go to File, Download, and you just turn it, PDF is one of the options. So you can just take it to a PDF and then you have the ability to pull one other pieces through. So anything you already have as a document, you can turn into a PDF and then you can use as a practice set. Here's an example. So that kind of expands some of the things we may already do, right? We may have some paper tests. Maybe we've used this in a Google form. So you can pull in from other pieces you have. You can also take a Google form and export it as a PDF if you want to use some of those questions for review. So here's an example. My colleague Cheska, who was a science teacher, used this one, right? Because I'm creating a little image, I actually have the ability to take in the whole question, including the answers. Now I'll show you what it looks like when you do that, because it doesn't work quite as neatly as I'd like it to work. I just did a bad thing. I closed my whole classroom out. Of course I did.
Good question.
Yeah.
When you change it to a PDF, does it give it a whole, like, does it kind of make a copy?
It does.
You have to use that. You have to go back and find that in your
Yes. So if you're on a Chromebook, it'll go to your recents. And if you're on a laptop, you could put it on your desktop. Okay. So if I'm in classroom, nope. If I'm in here, I'll show you both ways. So when I come in here, we're going to come back into this one. We're going to edit this one. I should have edited this one. Sorry. Not to make you a little seasick while I'm kind of working my way through that. Sorry. We're going to go in here. We're going to edit it. We're going to come to the bottom because we're going to import. We're going to import a question. And when I come in, it's going to say, oh, what do you want to use? And so here's recent. So it would pull this one. This is the one I just pulled. It was a PDF. Okay. Anything I made as a PDF would come into your recent. So if you have a document that you currently want to use, but it's a doc, you would go File, Download, PDF, save it to your drive. Then you'd come back into your practice set and you'd import, but you'd import out of recent. Let's take this one. We'll open up this one. Again, when I pull in a PDF, what it's doing is taking your PDF and you're taking a little mini picture of it. So I think when I did this last time, the problem that we found with this document, see how little the text is? I wanted to show you the difference in these. The text is tiny, right? It's taking an image. So I'll just show you one of them. We'll go like this. And we'll tell it to import that question. I just want the question. See how little it comes in? So that was the lesson that I learned. I had made one of these and the text was very small. And I was like, I need to go back into the original. I need to make the text a little larger. 14 to 16, because when you're doing it like this, it's literally taking a screenshot of it and pulling it in. So like on this one, you'd have to still put in your answers. It's not going to pull all your answers in. Okay. So that gives us more ability to build from things we already have. And I'll show you what it does when we pull in we'll do one more. I want to pull in that image so you can see what it looks like with an image as well. So if you have things with images, you can also do that. We go back into the cells test prep, and I keep wanting to go to screenshot. And I'm going to take this one. And if I remember correctly, my thought was I want to take it with everything in it, but when you do that, so see what happens? This kind of hangs off. It's gone. You just have to practice with it a little. May need to keep them text bigger and then put in your answers yourself. This could be short answer where the students put in the answer and you told them the correct answer, right? You have to think of how you want this to look, but the size of the text in the original document is really important. Otherwise, it's too small to read. Okay. Let's go back out. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to come back out of here. You do have a done editing feature. So let's say I'm all done with that. All right, so now I've done like all the nitty gritty. I've made some practice sets. Now I actually want to put them into my classroom. So I'm going to come back out into my classrooms. It's going to bring me here. And let's say I'm going to go in here. So now all I'm going to do is going to assign them to my students. So I'm going to come into classwork. You can make practice sets, but they must be pushed through Google Classroom. I'm going to create an assignment, and there they are. You can see it, practice sets. They sit right here. So I can click right on it. One of the cool things about this, it's going to bring you right back here. Here's into my practice set. So if you didn't pre-build it and you're like, you know what, I'm in the middle of a lesson and I realize that my kids need a little bit more work. They're doing something independently. I'm going to make them a couple examples in here that they have so they can practice. I could create from right in there. Well, let's say we're just going to load these practice facts up for them. And you'll see your options. Share, try as a student, edit. I'm pretty good. I'm just going to attach it. It's going to bring me back out. There's the practice sets. So you'll notice you have no option to make a copy, right? You don't have to worry about that because it's like, oh, Google says, oh, this is a practice set. I bet you want everybody to have their own copy. Yes, yes, I do. It's assuming that's the way you want it to work, right? Please do the practice set. Those are my great directions. Not really. But what you can do over here is you can differentiate. I only have one student in this class. If I had 8 students in this class, I could give this to 4 students and make another one for another set of students. So you still can differentiate in the classroom, but the differentiation happens over here, and it's going to push to everyone you choose, either all students or just one student. So I could just pick one. If I had more than one student in this classroom, I would push to multiple. So I'm going to just do all. Due dates. If you want there to be a due date, totally can put one on, no topics. If you happen to be in my plagiarism class or my originality session about an hour ago, you could click that. This is really not applicable to originality. So we just tell it to assign. And then it pushes through. And that's all there is to it. So you could see when it was posted, right? And you're going to see when students finished it, right? So when they're finished it, they'll get a turn in button. They just turn it in because it's done and you can see it. So this is the hard part. So I can't show you this directly because I don't have students with practice sets, and my teammates were a little reluctant to go in and do my stupid math questions. I don't know why, and the other questions I put in. But what I do have for you is some other things that you can see, so you see what it looks like. And we're going to come back to this. So, yep. So you can click attach, you can edit, you choose your practice. I basically walk through all the steps. So in here, I walk through all the steps for you as you're doing it. Like you pick what you want, you attached it, and then I actually gave you the steps for like creating an assignment. If you're using Google Classroom, you know those, not a big deal, but it's just nice so that you do know it. So here's what it looks like when you review student work. Now these slides get really pretty all of a sudden. That's because I actually was able to take them from Google. So when you go in and you look at it, and this looks exactly what students work on, you'll get insight. And you can see in here, I'm going to go full screen. When you come in here, it'll say many students got number 1 and number 3. So Google's doing this for you. It's saying, hey, your students are struggling with this. And it's going to give you like how many they got right. And it's going to show you how many, like what they got wrong. So Amir got all 4 questions wrong. Ellen got the first 3 wrong and got the last one right. Helen got 2 and 2. Rajin got 3 out of 4. But this one right here, he did it twice because it's the lighter green. He got it wrong the first time, he got it right the second time. So it's really nice because it's basically saying to you, hey, your kids are struggling with this. And you can see the problems here. So they'll show you the problems and you can kind of work your way through. Let's go to the next one. Ooh, sorry, I got really excited. Let's go and look at that insights a little bit more. So it's going to give you that holistic view. It's going to show you how many numbers of problems were answered correctly versus incorrectly because I'm doing it by student. Again, this has that Google form feel to it because I can look at my students collectively or individually. Here I am in the individually. So for this student, she got 3 what right? She got 3 correct and 1 wrong. And this will also in here, it's going to say it displays the number of attempts the student took to answer the question. So that first student who only went through, like he got none wrong, excuse me, none correct, he might not have done more than 1 attempt. So that those attempts sit right in there and you're able to see it. Took them 1, it took them 2, like teaching some perseverance, going back in, reconnecting. I've always been like, I don't care if it takes you 30 times to get it right. My goal is for you to be able to do it. This is a good way to kind of instill that in kids to not give up. Practice again. You can practice and practice and practice until you get it right. And it also says the number of attempts will be indicated in a green circle. So this one, she attempted it twice. So this is how to kind of manage, sorry, we didn't get a picture there. You will sign into Classroom. You'll go to your classwork tab. You'll click on the assignments, you'll view it. And then when you're in the assignments page, you're going to look for class insights. It's going to sit in there, right? So it's not hard to find. It's just a little different path. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm pretty sure the person that I sent this to is out today. So when I go into classwork, let's go back out. I'm going to go to view all. That bunny is running pretty fast. Does not want to load this class at all. I found that Google Classroom has run a little slow this summer. I don't know if they've been doing a lot of updates. I'm hoping it's not indicative of where we're going in the near future, because that would be absolutely terrible. So I come into the practice set, and when we come in here, I will get an insights page. It's right here. She hasn't finished it yet, but it will sit right here. And then you actually have a little survey over here that you could fill out. When she did it, I would have insights on this assignment. So if you want to group your students in small groups, so like it's telling because you can't really tell how many times it takes a student to get something right. And Tracy, I was thinking about your grammar thing there, right? So we want them to get to the right answer. It's nice to know if it's taking them 1 attempt or 6 attempts. It helps if you have that idea. It's kind of like me. I'm practicing for my Google test right now, my Google level 2, because I have to recertify. And I'm like, I'm glad they're not counting because I've had a couple of the quizzes that I've had to take 3 times because I've been like, yeah, just not getting this the right way. I'm not understanding the question they're asking. So it's going to keep track of those things for you so you know where they are. All right, so let me go back and look at my deck because I think with this one, I'm going to just go back into slideshow again. We're almost done. So the numbers of attempts, green is always right. Red is always wrong. And then unanswered, it is also going to show you like unanswered or incomplete questions. And then I put in here, I will find it. This is this is our full Google deck that we get on practice sets. I kind of made a little easier for you, but there's a lot in here and it's very intense. So if you want to go through, you have the ability to go through and read through this if you want more information on it. Questions? Okay.
I think it'll be good to just like practice it, like just get to it. And, I think that's how we'll, it seems like a great feature. I'm really glad that they added this.
It's very intuitive. It really is. I think the biggest issue they're having right now is there's not always enough suggested hints to what you're trying to put in. But even just the practicing, so students can try it and try it again and try it again is very helpful. If you don't have suggested, when that new feature comes through, I think that's going to be the game changer in it because then it's customizable to every content area out there, not because they are focusing on math, science, ELA, right? That makes sense. So that's going to help a lot. Great. Well, I got done a little early. It's always good to give time back. So I will mark attendance complete, and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to do it tomorrow morning. I'm going to try to finish up a few things before I drive back. Oh, I'm so excited to hear that. Oh, look at that. You know what? That's a great idea, right? To go backwards in content. Yeah, so you can use it to do that older content and that you get some nice analytics on it. It's a great way to use it. Yeah. And it's like, it's a little bit of homework that's not very hard for students because it's not grade inducing, right? It's just homework that I'm not taking a grade for, tell them that, but I just need to know if you're able to do this. And then I can figure out, so we don't have to do everything about cells. I know nothing about science. I'm making it sound like I do. Yeah, a great little exit ticket. It's simple. It's simple, right? It's also along the lines of you don't have to do 20 of these math problems. I can have you do 5 and I'll know where the problem lies. I can figure out pretty easy. All right, I will do attendance in the morning and I'll push out the videos and everything tomorrow. You will get the link to the deck, the link to the video. There will be a Google form in there. You do not need to fill that out because you attended live. So, but just always feel to reach out. Awesome. So thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Safe travels.
Thank you.